Hi friends, we are here for the most wonderful time of the year in Buena Park, California, otherwise known as
the Boysenberry Festival.
The Boysenberry Festival. Back in the 1920s, this was essentially a roadside berry stand. Is that right?
Yeah. Knott's Berry Farm has a really long history. Started as a berry farm, became a chicken dinner restaurant, and then that got so popular that Mr. Walter Knott decided to start adding like attractions for the people waiting in line for the chicken restaurant, and that's how we have Knott's Berry Farm today.
From berry farm to Six Flags internationally known theme park. The first Boysenberry Festival happened here at Knott's Berry Farm in 1959. And this is going to be our 4th annual Boysenberry Festival together.
Yeah, and some years it's like been really great. You get like decent portions, like it's not too expensive, but other years like the portions are small and it's kind of expensive, feels like you're getting ripped off. So we're going to try a lot of really crazy Boysenberry foods and of course ride some roller coasters.
Absolutely. What would a day at Knott's be without some roller coaster fun? So fingers crossed, this is indeed one of the best Boysenberry festivals yet, but let's go inside and figure out for ourselves.
One of the very first things that hits you when you come to Knott's Berry Farm in general, but especially this time of year, is how incredibly beautiful all the decorations are. They just go all out. The park looks its absolute best this time of year.
In fact, it's so beautiful that I've tried to convince Kieran to let us decorate our apartment all out in Boysenberry theme for the month of April. Haven't quite convinced him yet, but first order of business, we gotta grab our Boysenberry Festival tasting card. Would this not just make the perfect living room decoration? It's a no-brainer.
Speaking of the berry shack that started it all, this right here, when you very first enter Knott's Berry Farm, is a replica of what that little Boysenberry shack looked like in the 1930s. Now it sells tasting cards and other, berry treats. Okay, the tasting card has been acquired.
For $55 plus tax, you get 6 tastings, and that includes 6 of any item on this huge list of items this year, which again, we were talking about previous years not offering a lot of value included in the tasting card. Glad to see that clearly they've listened to feedback, and this year it looks like we're gonna have too much to choose from, which is exciting. Fun fact, this part of the park is typically closed outside of special events like the Boysenberry Festival and Not Scary Farm. But it looks like during the festival they are going to have different booths set up with different items to taste. But what we're really interested in is all the way at the back.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got our first items of the day, which are a Boysenberry Sangria.
And the beef bulgogi, which I have been really talking up since we got here. Unfortunately, they were out of rice. We got here at like 5 p.m. today, so pretty late start, so no rice, but they did put it on mac and cheese. Delicious.
Tasty sangria as well. I know you were concerned that Kieran's not a big wine fan, so he was afraid it was going to taste a little bit too much like a red blend wine. But I think it's a delicious, sweet, but not overly sweet sangria.
My one complaint with a lot of the Boysenberry Festival items is that I don't really get the Boysenberry flavor coming through very strongly in a lot of the items, and for me that's something I really look for. This does not have, it tastes like really good bulgogi, but it doesn't taste like Boysenberry bulgogi. Well, as you can see, we both thought that was really foul, disgusting, we hated it.
Woo, woo. My mouth is a little bit on fire, but Kieran's just joking. It was incredible. I do need to cool off though. Shall we cool off by riding a roller coaster?
Yeah, let's do Ghost Rider right here.
Ghost Rider originally debuted in 1998. It was built by Custom Coasters International, also known as CCI. They came onto the scene in the early 90s and launched a lot of theme parks into the cultural zeitgeist of theme parks with rides like Reuben at Holiday World or Boulder Dash at Lake Compounds. The layouts are known for great airtime, solid laterals, but in the 2000s, Ghost Rider got really rough. So Great Coasters International, or GCI, came in 2016, completely retracked the ride and put on their Millennium Flyer trains, which are essentially couches on wheels, onto Ghost Rider, and it completely changed the experience. To this day, it still runs incredibly smooth for a wooden coaster. It's pretty much universally loved by everyone that I know.
I love it.
I'd say that Ghost Rider is considered the best roller coaster in California in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably up against X2 as the...
Which is my personal favorite, but...
And maybe in just a couple months, we're going to see Hollywood Drift at Universal Studios, so who knows, maybe that will take the cake.
Fast and Furious, here we come. For now, we're going to be Fast and Furious in the Wild Wild West. Wow, that is always so good. I mean, from the first drop, it is just a non-stop action-packed ride. One thing you'll learn about Kieran's and my taste in roller coasters is that we love rides that take you on a journey. And Ghost Rider feels like one of those rides. I mean, it feels essentially endless. There's amazing laterals all throughout the layout. I love that the first half of the layout is all about large drops and big swooping turns. And then you transition from the first part of the layout into the second with a gigantic, super steep drop off of what used to be mid-course brake run. GCI ditched that when they redid the ride in 2016. And now the entire second half of the ride is just a mad dash through the structure full of airtime, laterals, ends with an incredible helix.
That drop off the mid-course brake run into like the structure of the ride is so crazy. That's like, I like that better than the first drop for sure.
Oh, 100%. And you know when it's even better?
What's that?
At night.
One of the things that really separates Knott's Berry Farm from other regional theme parks is just the incredible attention to detail that you find here. Like, come and take a look at this. This is something that I found out from Justin Scard. So here's one of the signs. The letters have like a hump, and that is because in the actual Old West, when they used to paint these signs like this, the wind and the sand would come by and basically sandblast these signs. And because the letters were painted, the wood behind it was protected from the sand and the wind. And so over time, this wood got whittled away, leaving the letters to be slightly raised. And here, obviously that hasn't been the case, like some amazing creative people made this, but they made it so it has that authentic feel to it where all the letters are rounded, which is just an unbelievable level of detail for a theme park.
Hey, can I get a puff of that?
Here in Boot Hill Undertaker is one of my favorite little gags, illusions, whatever you want to call it. If you look in this window right here, you'll see a skeleton, if I can focus on it. There's a man in a coffin, wait for it. A skeleton.
So this is one of the multi-use event spaces here in Ghost Town at Knott's Berry Farm. The last time we were here was a couple months ago, and it was set up as a fun Peanuts drawing sketch class. And now, during the Boysenberry Festival, it's set up with lots of tasting booths. So what kind of good treats are we gonna have here?
We are getting boysenberry candied bacon here.
Boysenberry candied bacon. Doesn't get better than that. Thank you so much. Okay, we've got two very highly anticipated items here. First, on my left, we've got the boysenberry glazed candied bacon on a stick, yum. And then we've got the Reuben ball with a spicy boysenberry Thousand Island dressing. We originally wanted to try the tempura chicken bites in a boysenberry and orange glazed lettuce wraps, but unfortunately they were out of lettuce.
I'm seeing like a lot of
Sauerkraut?
sauerkraut.
Yeah, I really should have gotten a knife. Tasty, a little sour, which I guess it's full of sauerkraut, so it's in the name. But I quite like it.
I think we started really strong with the bulgogi, and it may all be downhill after that. I don't know. That was really, really delicious. This is okay, but I wouldn't order this again.
You know, I'm actually a boysenberry skeptic in that even though there's a boysenberry festival every year, who here has ever seen an actual physical boysenberry?
Me.
I mean, picked right off of the vine,
Yes.
right off of the tree, whatever they claim that boysenberries come from.
Daniel, we are sitting maybe 100 feet away from an actual boysenberry vine that I can take you and show you.
And you're gonna show me boysenberries on that vine.
Well,
We won't do this because we respect the park, but you're telling me that we're gonna go over there and there's gonna be a boysenberry that I can pick off that vine and pop in my mouth.
I don't know if it's in season or not, but there are vines, and theoretically, there are berries on those vines. But let's try this bacon.
When's boysenberry season?
That's delicious. This is it. This is where it's at.
How can you go wrong with bacon? All right, now that we've finished those items, we're gonna head over to check out the construction progress on Montazuma's Revenge Forbidden Fortress.
May I present to you the boysenberry vines? What do you think, Daniel? Are they real?
They definitely look like vines. I have yet to see a boysenberry. Montazuma's Revenge was a Schwarzkopf shuttle loop roller coaster that originally opened in the late 1970s. But in 2022, they closed it down to replace the original flywheel launch with an LSM launch. It was supposed to reopen in 2023, but due to some issues with the manufacturer working on the project, it did not reopen, and now it's 2026 and it still has not reopened. However, it is slated to reopen this year. We just saw, I think we just received like
In the mail, just like a become a Knott season holder type of advertisement in the mail, and it had a little section talking about Montazuma.
Yeah, so
It's coming.
fingers crossed, this is the year. The last time we were here, this whole ride was covered in scaffolding and tarps. Let's take a look at what it looks like now. All right, so here you can see the Montazuma's Revenge station. We still have the construction walls up here with hard hat and safety vests required beyond this point, but I am happy to report the track has been reinstalled and painted this nice brown burgundy color. Let's go take a look at what the other side looks like, because this is just the back spike. All right, here we are back on the other side of the ride. You can see that both the loop and the spike are in place and also painted that burgundy brown color. Last time I was here, the loop and spike were completely missing, so this is really great progress to see. Hopefully, the next thing to come is some testing, and then the ride will reopen this summer. All right, while we're over here, let's grab a quick ride on Silver Bullet, the park's B&M inverted coaster. personally, I'm a big fan of B&M inverted coasters.
I like him if I'm riding in the front. I do not enjoy facing straight into the back of the seat.
Yeah, and I'd say typically I prefer the back row on B&M inverts just because I find the forces to be a little more whippy back there. This is an exception for me though because of, well, you can see right now the first drop that the coaster is traversing is essentially a shallow ramp downhill, which I understand the coaster had to be designed that way because of the space it needed to fit into, but it's honestly a pretty lame way to start a major $20 million roller coaster.
Yeah.
With that said, the rest of the layout has some fun elements. After the vertical loop, you go through a fun overbank turn, which is unique for a B&M invert like this. It has a decent Cobra roll into a fun zero G roll. Then it has two fun back-to-back corkscrews, and then a nice, intense helix finale.
Leaves me feeling rather dizzy, I must say.
With that said, if I could replace this with nearly any other major coaster,
yeah,
I think I would.
It is the point of the evening where we're ready to enjoy our last two snacks from our tasting card. And we're ending on kind of a healthy note. What do we have, Daniel?
Yeah, we've had some heavier meat-based items, so now we're gonna have a roasted meat salad with goat cheese, pistachios, boysenberries, and boysenberry dressing, and to drink a boysenberry tequila smash, which I will eat my words a bit, because there is a garnish here that looks like it just might be a boysenberry.
They were pretty light on the beetroot and goat cheese. Basically everything that's not this salad.
I think this is pretty refreshing and delicious. I definitely hear you. It doesn't look like there's a ton of goat cheese, but I can definitely taste it. And in total, I think it makes a really nice dish.
I mean, objectively, it's pretty good, but you know, I'm not a huge tequila fan, but it's definitely got a good, strong boysenberry flavor, which, if you know me, I like that.
Delicious.
So nighttime has officially befallen us here at Knott's Berry Farm, and that means it is time for some night rides.
Woo!
But we are walking through a section of the park that really we don't come to often. You know, mainly because it's the kids section, it's Camp Snoopy. But one thing that strikes me every time I come here is just how nice of a kids area this is. The lighting package is incredible, especially at Christmas time. They really go all out in here.
Yeah, and in general, I feel like something that we say is missing from a lot of Six Flags Cedar Fair parks are trees, and Camp Snoopy is full of trees. And not only is it full of trees, but it's also home to Knott's Berry Farm's newest roller coaster.
Oh yes, it is, which is right over here, Woodstock Express, right?
Okay, I'm gonna have to double check that, but it's definitely a Zamperla coaster with both a lift and a booster launch.
Okay, so it is not called Woodstock Express, but I swear there was something around here called Woodstock Express at some point. It just sounds right.
Every Cedar Fair park has a kids coaster called Woodstock Express.
Okay.
Except for maybe this one.
Well, it is in fact Snoopy's Tender Paw Twister. And there it is.
So Snoopy's Tender Paw Twister was really fun. We love a launched kiddie coaster, but maybe now let's go ride a launch coaster that's a little more exciting.
Oh yeah. This waterfall is the entrance to Camp Snoopy, but once upon a time it had a canoe that was like teetering on it, like it would move up and down. It was a pretty cool sort of animatronic thing, gave this area a lot of movement, but ever since they did their renovation, it went away and hasn't come back, and I hope that it will come back.
Yeah, I think they're still working on the Camp Snoopy redo, so fingers crossed this feature is to return, because It really is something special in the front of the park. We always talk about how much we love set pieces, and that's such a great one. So fingers crossed, they're just refurbishing it and it'll be back soon.
Daniel came looking for coffee from this Starbucks, but unfortunately, they are closed.
You know, sadly, most of the year you can't get a lot of boysenberry food or drink items here at Knott's Berry Farm, which makes the Boysenberry Festival extra special. However, at this Starbucks, you can always get a boysenberry latte, and honestly, it's typically the highlight of my trip. Apparently, it says we can still visit the Starbucks on the way out of the park. So fingers crossed, even though we're gonna leave after closing time, I'll still be able to get my boysenberry latte there for the drive home.
Some fun items for the Boysenberry Festival. Feeling very good.
I originally saw this style shirt at Six Flags Magic Mountain and got really excited because for the first time that I've ever seen, Magic Mountain had some fun retro merch. Now I'm realizing that all of the Six Flags and Cedar Fair parks this year have this style merch. Oh, really? Which, you know, don't get me wrong, I like it, but I do hope that parks will continue to have unique merchandise at each location. But actually, this is really cute. I think I want this. And maybe one of these two.
What is it?
It's a boysenberry hat.
Okay, okay. It looks like something that you would sit over the top of a tea kettle to keep it warm.
That's what people tend to call my head. Big tea kettle.
I must say that I really love this section of the park where you have the Calico Mine Ride right here, and then the, what is it, the log flume called?
The Timber Mountain Log Ride.
Timber Mountain Log Ride. Both of them are just so perfect. They're classic amusement attractions, and I am a sucker for fake rock work, and both of these have some of the best.
Many of you probably already know that Cedar Point is one of my absolute favorite places in the world. And what could easily make it my definitive favorite park and place in the world is if they just carbon copied Calico Mine Ride and Timber Mountain Log Ride and just plopped them into Frontier Town at Cedar Point. Gosh, that would just really fill out and complete that park. Accelerator opened in 2002 as the original Intamin Accelerator coaster. It has a hydraulic launch. It launches from 0 to 82 miles per hour in 2.3 seconds up a 205-foot tall vertical top hat. And it's truly an absolute adrenaline rush. And though other accelerator coasters were built taller and faster, unfortunately, the mighty have fallen. But this old thing remains. It's a blast every time I ride it. Cannot wait to do it again. Woo! All right, night ride on Accelerator. What'd you think?
I really love this ride. Like, nothing compares to that hydraulic launch on this ride. It's just crazy. It's like, I've ridden a lot of roller coasters, and not often do I get that like stomach left behind type of feeling, and this ride does it to me every single time, no matter how many times I ride it. And like, sure, it is a little bit of a one-trick pony, but that one trick is really, really good.
And unfortunately, it's one of the last places we can still find that one trick. So we'll hold on to it as long as we can.
Yes, please, do not ever get rid of this ride.
We love Intamin. Don't do it to us, Knotts. Don't do it to us. Well, you can certainly tell that it is a Sunday night and the kids have school in the morning because the park has cleared out.
So our day at Knott's Berry Farm is coming to an end. The park is nearly closed, but before we head out, we're going to get one last delicious treat. We've used up all our tasting card things from the festival, but they sell a la carte items at the bakery of all sorts of delicious boysenberry things. I think we're too full to eat it now, but we're gonna get it to take home.
It's gonna be the best treat on the couch post-drive home to LA.
Well, our bakery treats have been acquired.
And our merchandise is secured. Unfortunately, the Starbucks outside of the park does not sell boysenberry flavored lattes. So I was slightly misled at the Starbucks inside the park, but that is all right. It is 10:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, so I probably did not need a double shot latte anyway.
Yeah, I think it's time to head home to West Hollywood and eat these treats.
Here we go. All right, after a 35-minute drive home with light traffic, we are back in West Hollywood, and we're ready to enjoy our final boysenberry treats of the day. What do you have there, Kieran?
I got the chocolate brownie with a boysenberry cheesecake topping, and it looks very delicious. I'm very excited to eat it, and to go with it, I made myself a tea in my 1975 Knott's Berry Farm mug.
Since all of the items were announced for this year's Boysenberry Festival, I have waited for this, so fingers crossed, it's pretty good. That's delicious. Hits the spot. And that concludes our day at Knott's Berry Farm and the 2026 Boysenberry Festival. What do you think?
I had a really great time. I mean, I always have such a good time at Knott's Berry Farm, and the Boysenberry Festival is just like the icing on the top. The food this year, everything we had was generally pretty good. There was a miss with the bowl. Like
the Reuben bowl.
The Reuben bowl was pretty bad, I'm gonna say.
I thought it was all right.
The bacon was a big hit. Actually, even though I kind of said that there was hardly any goat cheese and beet in the salad, I think they actually turned out to be really tasty. The bulgogi on the mac and cheese was a highlight of the day for sure, incredible. And I guess the question is, do you think that it was value for money? So we paid, what, $55 for 6 different items, which included a few food options and then 2 drinks as well.
Right. And I remember going 3 years ago, and the drinks were served in essentially Dixie cups. At the current price point, normal price cocktail, I think you could purchase them a la carte for $17.99, and then most of the food items were in the $10, $11 range. So I do feel like at $55 for 6 tastings and nice portion sizes and good quality food in general, yeah, I feel like we got good value for the money this year. Even though in years past, it hasn't always hit the mark, this year it definitely did, and I would consider it, at least so far, my favorite theme park event of the year.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Well, that about wraps things up for today, but if you guys enjoyed following along with us, please go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more. We are actually headed to Mexico City this weekend, where we'll be visiting Six Flags Mexico for the first time, as well as Aztlán Park Urbano. I probably definitely butchered that, but I'm
brush up on your Spanish before we go.
Clearly necessary. Well, so excited for things to come. You all have a great night. We'll see you soon.